can share it real quick if you want, but we are live. All right, I'm going to start a show.
Oh, yeah. Raw is War.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show! Yeah!
What's going on?
Welcome to the show! Welcome to Smartmark Wrasslin Radio. Radio is war, I guess.
Radio is war tonight.
We're episode 11 now. Wow. We had to skip a week, but we are back. And I think I titled this episode World's Greatest Wrestling Podcast because we'll talk about it after Backlash. My name is Derek on TSPN. Of course, joining me as always is Chris, that's Huds Magruder on the Twitter. We got Dkatz 88 on Twitter. Also, I call him Dkatz. And of course,
Kang in the comments already.
And then joining us in the comments is Janky Kang, because he's an honorary. Well, he was a guest actually, technically, on the last show, but also he's been a guest for week one since he's been commenting. Lot to cover. Backlash was a mess, except for the main event was awesome. Raw was a mess. And it continues to be a mess because now a couple of them have tested positive for COVID. So great.
Yeah. The damn developmental talent is the one that ends up getting it. What a bunch of bullshit.
AEW was good.
It was really good.
Yeah, and of course, coming up for AEW is. I did not realize this, but Fyter Fest is a 2-night event. Did know that. What I did not know is that Fyter Fest is going to be on TNT, and it's actually going to take place of Dynamite. So it's going to be free. It's going to be on TNT. They said it's going to be pay-per-view quality. So you're watching a pay-per-view. It just happens to be for free. It's going to be on TNT. It's going to be both Wednesdays, so I think July 1st and 8th. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That's going to be really awesome.
Yeah. So no Dynamite on those nights. It'll be Fyter Fest, which they have a great card. It's going to be stacked, I think. It's going to be really good. Backlash was a mess, like I said. It was mostly fine. I guess that's how I felt about everything. I was like, this is fine, I guess. Like the women's tag team match was really short, and then Sheamus and Jeff Hardy was way too long.
It was not good. It wasn't good either.
And I don't care about that storyline. It feels contrived. It feels sad because I know they want to play with some like real life shit. But we've already seen that though. We've seen Jeff wrestling with demons, and like we've watched it, and we watched it in a better form with him. And
he looked good. His physique
did look good.
Is great. He looked good. He lost the chubby, so you can tell he's taking it serious.
And Sheamus is a good and Sheamus is a good worker. It's just, you know what? I think I figured it out what I don't like. I think I like Sheamus better as a face.
Really?
I think I like him a little more as a face. As a heel, he's really hard for me to take seriously. Like, he's a big, tough guy, and he's a bruiser, and I like that. But I've never liked the heel shtick. It's just not... His hair's all, like, gelled, like, straight up. Like, it's just not... I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Jeff, they kept talking about how charismatic he was. I thought that was funny. No, he's not, though. Not even a little bit. What else? For Backlash, everyone retained every title.
Yep.
Not one title changed.
Miz and Morrison was kind of cool with Braun
Miz and Morrison was
I kind
good.
of dug that.
Yeah. This is the first time I didn't like the theatric version of a match. I did not like the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders.
You didn't like it? I loved it. I thought it was like watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man.
I thought it was fun that they teamed up together, but I was just ultimately I was like, I don't care. It was a wet fart.
A little too sophomoric for you.
Well, honestly, I would have rather have watched a title match. I would have rather
watched.
Well,
see, that's what Drew said too. He really felt like that match was going to be the sleeper of the card, and it ended up just being fun and not what we wanted, you know. So I dig that. I still liked it. It was like Turtles.
But let's talk about the world's greatest wrestling match.
It was
great. The world wants to know. They want to know what we think about the world's greatest wrestling match. No, it was not the world's greatest wrestling match. It might have been the WWE's greatest Backlash match.
Possibly.
It was also really good. When you call something the world's greatest wrestling match, you're never going to live up to that hype unless you have Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair in there somehow.
Yeah. And you've gone back to the 70s.
But it was raw. It was a really good match, though. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed using other people's finishers, seeing Randy Orton do the pedigree, which, by the way, he could totally do the pedigree. Seeing the
in fact, he should.
Oh, yeah.
He should use it.
It looked great. He did a really good job.
Well, it's like what Chris was saying a couple weeks ago. There are plenty of moves that aren't being used that guys could be using.
Yeah, and there's no reason that, you can't use somebody like Triple H's move because he wrestles like at WrestleMania now.
Yeah.
And occasionally another pay-per-view here or there. And
it was a really good pedigree too. Oh, and then I thought Edge did a really good rock bottom. I also love that it was the rock bottom in the pedigree. That was cool. I love that they dusted off some old audio footage of the Fink doing the introduction. For the match.
that was really awesome.
Thought that was really cool.
It said MSG and everything like that.
That was really cool.
That's awesome.
I was fine that they piped in the sound. I thought they should have been doing that since the beginning anyways, so I'm fine with it.
If they keep doing that,
yeah, I would be fine with that. I did take you out of the moment of remembering that it wasn't I knew it was piped in, but at the same time I was like, this feels like a real match.
Watch any sitcom without the laugh track, and it's really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I loved the return of the punt.
Yeah.
Oh,
we all expected it.
Yeah. Oh, there's been a few matches over the last couple years where he teases it and can't do it on time or something like that. But boy, he did it, and you know what? It looked good. It looked like a real. It looked like a connect.
Looked like it snapped his neck.
Oh yeah, it looked like he killed him.
It's a shame that Randy's had so many wellness policy violations that he's on his last strike or whatever. But he's so good.
I know.
So good.
Yeah.
Man. He'll be one of the greatest of all time.
Also,
after
nobody does a power slam like him either.
Or a drop kick. That drop kick is fucking.
Him and Mr. Ass.
Yeah. We also got to give some credit to Edge for being his first real in-ring match. Boy, he looked good. He got hurt. He's hurt now.
And that's probably 8 months. So we won't see him till maybe. Especially since I think they were setting up for a third. I think they were probably going to do one more SummerSlam. Is probably what they were letting us think.
Yeah. They'll probably hold off to WrestleMania next year now.
He could wrestle with a torn tricep.
He could.
It's possible.
He could wrestle.
If Stone Cold can do it with a broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple other guys.
Pop a bunch of pills and wrap it up.
Or if they wait.
Opioid it up.
Or if they wait, if they go the full 8, do it. Do the full 8. Let him heal. But let's not do part 3. Let's not do part 3. Let's end it as a draw. Let's bring him back. Bring him with Randy again, though. But let's have a rated RKO run. Let's just do that instead.
Yeah.
Because actually, the way it ended, I know that Randy gloated. So Monday kind of sets this whole thing, this idea I had back. But after that match, I liked the stuff that Randy did. He's holding his head. He's, I'm like, okay, so I guess this is a weird chemistry that these guys they're running with here, And then Monday, he comes out and he's gloating about it, and I was like, eh. I mean, I did like that he's like, call me the legend killer again. I did like that. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's interesting. I do think really you could do another rated RKO run with them though, and it'd be a lot of fun. I think we'll see him come back. We'll see Edge come back, and we'll see him go against Randy. I think Chris, you're probably right. Well, we might see like Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, like a thing.
Yeah.
Remember,
maybe he'll come back at the Rumble and do a run-in on whatever Randy's doing. Because Randy will have something, or he'll come out and eliminate him in the Rumble match.
Yeah.
Even if he's not in it, he could eliminate him, and then and
remember this whole thing is for Edge to retire on his own terms. So his own terms, he's still kind of an old school guy. Maybe he wants to go out on his back. Maybe he wants a third thing, and maybe it's WrestleMania. Maybe he lets Randy be the one that puts the end to it, the actual like for real end to his career match.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you
I could see it being Randy.
That pop that Edge got at the Rumble was the biggest pop WWE has had in probably 5-6 years.
I know. What I think would be really cool, I think you could get another couple years out of him. I think you throw a belt on him for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe that was the plan. Maybe if he wouldn't have been hurt, and then they did a third match at SummerSlam, then you have him move on to the next thing. And maybe that was the plan. Like, let's get a belt on Edge for a little bit, and then have him go out on his back at WrestleMania against like a young guy, a new young guy.
Put over somebody like Pete Dunne or Aleister Black or Matt Riddle or somebody who really deserves it.
God, Pete Dunne would be great. Pete Dunne's fun.
Oh, I love him, dude.
Yeah, me too.
He's one of my favorites right now.
He's got that swimming suit style wrestling gear, and I don't like that. But otherwise,
it's never good. It's never good. It doesn't matter who's wearing it.
I always just feel like whoever's wearing like the swimming suit style gear is always like one suplex from hanging brain right in the middle of the ring there. Especially like Pete Dunne's a smaller guy, so he can pull it off. But that dude that wrestles, that's a tag team partner with Otis in Heavy Machinery.
Yeah,
that big guy. He's got that swimming suit singlet on. Dude, that dude's always like one suplex away from a ball just falling right out of that.
Are you talking about the one without the legs on the shorts?
Yeah.
Just the tighties?
Yeah.
So somehow, what you're saying is, let me get this straight. So what you're telling me is that somehow, like, the singlet is more gay than just straight up briefs.
Yeah, because the problem is
it's pulling it up.
It's pulling it up.
Yeah,
So the strap up above is always pulling the ball part up. And I swear, dude, that dude in Heavy Machinery, that guy, there's a couple matches they did where I'm like, that dude's like gonna hang brain at the end of this match.
What's his name? Like Truck or Dump Truck or What the fuck is that guy's name?
Man, I don't know. I'm like, that's scary. I don't want to see that dude.
But Taz wore that one too.
He did.
Taz always had that one, and you were always just like one slip up, he's gonna fall out of his jockstrap, and we're gonna see some Tasmanian balls.
As opposed to like Kurt Angle or like Owen Hart, who had the legs on the
they went underneath. Like half thigh or so.
Yeah,
I agree with Drew. I think they could do one more. He could win it. Okay. Here's one thing that was disappointing about Backlash, is that it didn't happen on Backlash. On Friday Night SmackDown, they ended up going with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title on Friday Night SmackDown, and that was a bummer for me. That should have been a Backlash match. They interrupted it with commercials. Yeah,
at least the they at least could have made it the bonus match before the pay-per-view, like during the pre-show.
Tucker.
It could have at least been there.
Tucker and Otis.
Tucker, yeah. Tucker and Otis.
Yeah,
I like that tag team, to be honest.
So do I. I like Otis.
I think Otis.
And I like
Otis
Otis.
Is hot right now.
Otis is hilarious. I think Tucker. I mean, actually, when you look at Tucker, like body shape, if he cut a couple pounds, the dude could be a star. I think he's got a great move set. He's a big guy. He's agile. Like he could be the dude probably. I don't know if he could be the dude with that style of outfit, though.
He's got the big baby JBL look, doesn't he?
He does a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he's about ready to hang brain out of that thing, man. I don't know.
A disqualifier.
He's a bat wing on there.
He's got like a bat wing. He's like, a suplex away.
He's pinned his stack to the mat. 1, 2.
I don't know, man. I've never been a fan of that style of singlet. I don't like it.
I think Big Show did that for a while too, didn't he? When he was in WCW.
Yeah, he did. That was the one he wore.
Yeah,
and that's a really big guy to be wearing that. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I thought I would have been nice to see Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles do that on Backlash instead. I think that would have been a lot more fun, but it didn't happen that way. That's okay. You know, you can't pick on WWE too much for this pay-per-view because even before COVID or before the product, starts taking a little bit of a nosedive, Backlash is a terrible. That's one of those pay-per-views that nobody cares about. Payback, Backlash, all of the
Unforgiven.
Yeah, Unforgiven. Like I'll watch those, but none of them. I mean,
they don't feel like they matter.
Yeah,
if it's not WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or Royal Rumble, I really don't care.
Fastlane. I thought maybe one title change, but then I remembered it was this pay-per-view, and they just don't really change. It's basically a episode of Raw, and it's not anything to. Drew says he really likes hang brain now. That's my favorite phrase.
Yeah, and his previous one, I fucking loathe having commercials in the middle of a match.
Yeah,
I always have since I was a little kid.
You know what though? AEW doing the picture-in-picture is okay.
I'll take it.
That works.
I'll take that. Yeah,
well, I'll take it because
I'm not missing anything. There's always something that they'll cut back to, and they don't do it as much now. Like during the commercial in the '80s, they did that all the time.
Yeah,
and they had less commercials, so it was I don't know. And now they don't. Yeah. I mean, just split screen it and do the flashback if you insist on putting that shit in.
I like the picture-in-picture. It's like watching football. They do that during football season.
Yeah.
And, it works. It's fine. You're getting your ad space still. But it's still... I mean, I used to hate that in Monday Night Raw back in the 90s, though. Someone's in control of the match, and then you come back from the commercial break, and somebody else is in control of the match. And you're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, they're like, he went through the announce table and took a chair shot and a bell to the head.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Monday Night Raw. We're here live. Billy Gunn just took a staple gun in the anus.
Right. And now they're just doing rest holds in the middle of the ring. Like, fuck, man.
We missed all the action. Now it's just a rest hold.
You're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to go during commercial on is the rest hold, man, not the fucking going through the announce table.
They're all gassed.
I'm not right.
Anyway,
make the best video packages in any business, and you can't time a commercial right.
No, we have some fun stuff on the show today. We're gonna do a wrestler A through Z today. We're on letter I. And then we're also gonna talk our top 5 best feuds, or favorite, at least, feuds of all time. But before we get into any of that, on the last show, we did our top 5 favorite belts. But I think we all decided we don't really want to dedicate an episode to the top 5 worst belts, because I think we are all in pretty much agreement of what the worst belt is. And really, the other bad belts are nothing compared to this bad belt. So we'll talk about this for a little bit. First off, I think we can all three at least give an honorable mention for a bad belt. I did tease this, that it made my best and my worst list, but my honorable mention for worst belt is the spinner belt. I think it really hurt the product for a while.
The US one or the WWE one or both?
Actually, the one that Edge wore. The one with the rated R, because that
the
symbol,
WWE.
And it was too, his rated R in the middle was too big, so it looked even more like a toy. It didn't even look like the belt was gold anymore. It just looked terrible. So that's my honorable mention. That's my honorable mention for worst belt, was the spinner that Edge had. Frankly, I didn't mind it as the U.S. title, because I don't mind that title's the U.S. title. It's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
Do you guys have an honorable mention for worst belt?
Of course.
I hate the AEW women's title. I hate it. I think it's ugly as all get out. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
Okay.
My honorable mention is highly controversial because it made both of your best lists. It's the big gold belt.
Oh, right.
I love it.
Right.
It's gaudy. It looks heavy and uncomfortable, and there's nothing, like, there's no contrast to it. It's just gold.
That's true. It's just gold.
It is heavy, but it feels so good. You should try it sometime, Chris. I'll have you come over.
I will.
It's a cool belt.
I'll invite Brian Dennehy over, and we can play. I'll turn you into my personal finger puppet.
No,
what's your belly aching, Buck Rogers? It's just a diver's watch.
That's fair. I also could have thrown in the ECW championship. Not a fan. I don't care.
The one that Taz had made my list. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah.
With the FTW on it, like, oh, fuck the world. Okay, buddy. Okay.
I also wasn't a big fan of the actual Undisputed belt when they united the two belts. I didn't really like the Undisputed Championship belt. I didn't think it was great. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Well, that was Chris's favorite last week.
Yeah, I know. That's my top belt.
I know.
I don't feel so bad. You're right about that AEW Women's Championship. It looks like shite.
Yeah, it's bad. Also, I wasn't going to pick on the AEW TNT Championship because it's not done. It's just a placeholder belt because COVID and they couldn't get it made. It's fine. Okay. So the worst belt, I think, in agreement by everybody in the world, is the Divas Championship belt, the butterfly belt.
The butterfly belt.
It's so it's offensive on a lot of levels. So, I mean, the first level is that it's offensive to the palate. It's ugly as sin. It's ugly as sin. The second level, to me, why it's offensive is before it was the Divas title, it was the women's title. It was the women's championship belt.
Right.
And it looked good. Then they changed it to the Divas, basically telling us and the viewers and the women in the match, you are divas now. You're not women. You're not women wrestlers. You're not athletes. You're divas. You're going to be a diva. To me, just the whole term that they went with, divas, feels fucking disrespectful. The women are doing the same thing. They're out there trying to put on. It's insulting to think that Beth Phoenix was fighting for the Divas title. That's insulting.
Yeah, she was legit.
Right. And back when it was the women's championship and it was Trish Stratus and Lita, could you imagine them fighting for the Divas title? That is so insulting.
Or Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Ivory.
Oh my God.
Ivory's a fantastic wrestler.
Ivory.
Mighty Molly used to be good. We didn't see enough of her in the women's battle royal to really see where she's at today, but she's got to be pushing 50.
Yeah. So the title itself, the Divas division, that whole thing was so insulting. And when they before they reintroduced the women's title, like the women's division back, NXT had the women's title belt, and they still had the Divas belt at the time, but they had the NXT Women's Championship belt. And I was like, okay, we're going to see a change here because they're calling it the Women's Championship again, but it's still the Divas. So Paige was the NXT Women's Champion and then came out and won the Divas title off AJ Lee.
She was good too.
But it was like but it was like a downgrade almost, because it was the Divas title and it was a butterfly belt. Okay, so so there's that.
It looks like that belt looks like something that a bootlicking, like, you know those gals that like go mudding in Wah, and they have the pink cowboy boots and the pink camo, like. It looks like either the belt buckle they got from D&B or the tramp stamp they put on the back of their
ass. There it is, baby. There it is, baby. Because that's what I called the belt the entire time it existed. I called it the tramp stamp belt. It looks like a butterfly tramp stamp, and it's fucking insulting. It's insulting to the audience. It's insulting to the athlete. It's insulting to the entertainer.
It was a tribute to Muhammad Ali. Because they all float like butterflies, and everybody took it.
That's right.
You know, it's the way you did. And
you know what? In that context,
they read the room wrong.
Yeah, I just read it wrong.
No, not you. They did.
Oh, they did.
Because everybody thought what you think, but really it was just a tribute to the great one.
Oh, okay.
I bet Vince McMahon was like Reggie brought the prototype of the belt to Vince. He's like, oh, that's good shit.
Yeah, women like butterflies, don't they? Fucking dumb.
My daughter liked butterflies in the yard when she was little.
And then
holy shit! Wait.
Oh yeah.
New from WWE publications. How to Know Everything About Women by Vince McMahon.
Oh god, I'd read that. Paige a babe, not gonna lie, Janky Kang. Absolutely, Paige is a babe. Oh, also that was insulting of itself. I watched that Paige documentary. Wrestling with Your Family. I watched the movie and then I went and watched the documentary. Dude, Paige is actually an amazing wrestler. She grew up wrestling with her brother, and dude, she was doing they didn't have her doing anything in WWE compared to what she was doing back at home. She was doing at home she did hurricanranas, and she dressed like Lita. She wore these cargo pants and stuff. It was cool. She did some shit at home, wrestling. They nerfed her. That's a video game term for you. They nerfed her moves so badly when she came to the States. But also, she was 17 when she was wrestling at home, so she might have had some injuries going into that too, coming into the United States.
Oh, hell yeah.
Also, by the way,
I'll tell you this. When we did backyard wrestling for about 10 years, and we did get hurt, and that is a legit thing. Some of us more than others, but you knew that in any given month, one person was going to have some kind of injury, whether it was they got cut open or a concussion that they didn't tell anybody about, or a busted shoulder, hurt knee. We got hurt. We definitely did.
Right. Which is, it's when you watch Botchamania, and you see the stuff from the indies and you go, these guys don't have health insurance. These guys are grocers. I hope their jobs have health insurance. And actually, they don't have health insurance in WWE either. They don't get provided that. They're independent contractors. We learned that from John Oliver. Thank you very much, John.
Which
you didn't know that
it's
before
hilarious.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's the shadiest fucking business practice there is.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, you're an independent contractor. No, really, all of your money.
You're an independent contractor, except for in your contract, you're not allowed to wrestle for any other organization.
Yeah, you're an exclusive contractor. Which
is what I love about, and we'll talk about AEW at some point, right? But that's the cool thing about AEW is that they've got people from AAA and NJPW, and they had the AEW debut of what's his face. Hold on, I got it.
While you're looking it up, that also Jericho has in his AEW contract that he's allowed to go. Jericho's actually allowed to go wrestle in WWE anytime he wants as well. They can bring him back anytime for stuff. Because actually, you remember when he was doing, before AEW was on TV, he was in the Greatest Royal Rumble.
In Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Was that the 40-man?
I don't remember. It was in Saudi Arabia, so it didn't mean anything. I think Braun Strowman run it. Which, by the way, that belt is ugly. It's sin, too.
Ricky Stark.
Universal?
Oh, Ricky Stark.
Yeah, he's a former NWA television champion.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing to say. The WCW television champion.
Oh, that was really good. Okay, so AEW this week. I didn't have a ton on it because I actually didn't.
But yeah, that guy doesn't work for AEW.
No. So yeah, I mean, I think so. AEW's contracts are set up differently. They're independent contractors also, but they're independent in the aspect that they can go wrestle for other organizations. They can.
Right. And WWE should offer a different contract on either side. It should be, you're an independent contractor. You can work wherever you want as long as you make your dates with us. Great, but you're an independent contractor. And the people they sign exclusively that they say can't work anywhere else, that should be like full employment benefits, 401k matching, the whole 9 yards. I don't know. If they went with both, I think they'd end up with a better product because they could bring people in from other organizations. Like, just because they're the competition doesn't mean you have to. I mean, Marvel and DC cross over every once in a while.
Fresh blood. So there's nothing wrong. Blood, right?
Yeah. Snake somebody through for a prestige match. Don't give them titles or anything. But, they cycle through, and it's like, hey, this guy came out of nowhere. He's great at being a heel. He can come out here and fuck with our top face. And then, our top face can take him out and gain something out of it. And then the dude disappears, and he's feuding with one of our
you never hurt his careir. Because he can just go back to another company and kick ass.
I mean, can you imagine if they would have had a deal like that back in the Attitude Era? I mean, we could have seen some of those dream matches in the Prime where it was like, maybe Sting and The Undertaker, but if they wrestle on a WWE event, Sting loses. If they do it on a WCW event, Undertaker loses. Sure. I mean, that's fine. If you don't want to
NWO coming in and crashing WWF and DX having to deal with it, that there was so much. But
people were watching both. Most people watched both.
Yeah,
I got at least an hour of Nitro before Raw even came on the air.
Right.
I think that was another strength of Raw's is it wasn't a 3-hour commitment every Monday. Like, as much as I liked having that much wrestling, and it gave me time to go out to my mom's and do my laundry and shit because I didn't have a washing machine back then. Sure. And I could watch 3 hours, no big deal. But that a tight 2-hour show is always going to be better than a 3-hour show to me.
I agree. I mean, I watch. I know we talk about AEW a lot. Zach Swan is pretty high on AEW alone, and it's understandable why. I think right now I prefer AEW. It's still more fresh. But I mean, I watch both. I'm grateful for all of it on TV.
Yeah,
I love that I love that we have it. And with COVID and really no sports, we've seen golf come back a bit. We've seen a few things come back a little bit. With nothing still going on, wrestling's it, man. It's the thing to watch. There's nothing else on that's live.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Good stuff. AEW was fun this week. It wasn't. I don't think AEW was a big send-off show. I think it was still good. It's still a solid product every week. So it was good. Dusty, did you have any takeaways from AEW this week?
Yeah, let's talk about this Abaddon gal.
Okay.
She had her debut yesterday. She's the one that came crawling into the ring with the creepy face paint.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They did a vignette for this gal called Anna J. Some gal from Georgia who... Like, they gave her a vignette, they gave her a gimmick costume, like, they looked like they were going to put her over, and she comes in, and then this crazy Abaddon gal comes in, all creepy looking, comes in and whoops her ass, squashes her. So it was like this beautiful, it wasn't a swerve, but it was a beautiful, because we're expecting them to put over Anna J, but they don't. They put over the opponent that you didn't even know was going to debut. That was a breath of fresh air. I don't know how I feel about either wrestler, though. It wasn't enough for me to sink my teeth in on.
Yeah.
So
I thought she was great. I thought she was fun. I was glad to see her in it. I think basically at this point, any woman that's added to the roster is just going to help strengthen the women's division, which has been, admittedly, maybe one of the criticisms I've had of AEW so far. It's just not a huge women's roster so far, and nobody's really notable other than a few. I mean, I think Britt Baker is absolutely the biggest star they have, and for fucking good reason. She's excellent. Yeah. She's a great heel. She's smoking hot. I think she's actually... Is she... She might be the one that's dating...
Seth... Oh, Adam Cole,
Adam Cole, right? From NXT.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
And in fact, she showed up to a WWE taping, an NXT taping, and Triple H apologized to her because they accidentally got her on camera, and Triple H didn't know what her contract was with AEW, and he didn't want to implicate her or get her in trouble or get... So it was like, wow, Triple H, what a bro. Like,
yeah, that's pretty cool. This is not related to what we're talking about, but Drew is absolutely right. Go Blazers.
Look at this girl. Go Blazers. She is something.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, because it's something I'd never seen before. I mean, it's kind of like the Boogeyman, but
what's funny is
it really isn't.
And the pictures of her is super interesting because, like, if you look at a picture of her online, so let me show you this picture that they advertised with her. Okay, it's Anna Jay, right?
That's Anna Jay, yeah.
And who that Chris, is that who you just showed?
No,
Abaddon. He showed Abaddon.
Oh, okay.
The other gal, the one who got put over.
But Anna Jay, bottomless pit of despair.
Oh, so really?
I assume they're talking about her vagina.
But
because, oh my God, that face.
But what do you think of Anna Jay being part of the Dark Order?
Oh yeah, dude, I want him to convert like a majority of the roster, and like have the Elite and the Inner Circle have to come together and take them out.
I agree. Okay, so I love that you said that because they're still going after Colt Cabana, who's visibly confused at this point in wrestling. Yeah. And I like the story. I actually really do. Colt Cabana really doesn't fit in anywhere, does he? He's just kind of... He's always just kind of... He's a journeyman. He's a career guy. He's a journeyman.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of him joining the bad guys. I love the idea now they have a woman. They have Anna Jay. Okay. Yep. Go get yourself a strong woman. I like that. Very nice.
There'll only be strong women here.
I think, like, okay, so maybe the Inner Circle, maybe they go pick up who would fit in with the Inner Circle. They can go pick up Britt Baker. You know, they get...
Yeah.
Or who's the one... God, I can't think of her name. The blonde that's with...
The alien? The alien, right?
Fuck,
that's your gimmick?
The blonde that's with the British dude.
Hot.
So
what the
incredibly hot.
Starts with a P. Penelope Cruz.
Oh, God. So hot.
Yeah. I like the alien gal, though.
So do I. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're right. I think it'd be fun to see the Elite and the Inner Circle have to team up to go again. I love that idea.
It gives,
especially since you still keep the tension. Keep the tension, too. They fucking still hate each other.
Yeah.
I love it.
And that gives validity. Yeah, that's what gives validity to this kind of lackluster alliance he's putting together. Like, it's just going to become an overwhelming force, and they're going to have to do something about it.
Yeah, also, by the way, since the introduction of Brody Lee, I didn't like him in the beginning. Now it's grown on me. Now
coming around,
growing. Huh? Now I like it. It's growing on me, and I think I figured out why. Less time for him to be giving the stupid speeches.
That might be it. Yeah. Now that we know what's going on, he doesn't have to do anything.
They introduced the idea. They let him do the story a little bit to tell us what his motivations are and stuff. He's fine on the mic. It's just it wasn't doing anything for me. But now that they're doing a little creative writing term for everybody, show don't tell. Now that they're showing us, like they gave us some needed storyline, but now they're able to show us this story. Now I like it. That's cool because also it's easy to remember. By the way, this guy Brody Lee / whatever the fuck his name was in WWE, which that's a good sign.
Yeah, that is a good sign.
That's a good sign. I can't remember now.
Luke Harper.
But it helps me remember because as Luke Harper, I liked him. It helps me remember that, oh yeah, he's a fucking awesome wrestler. He is an awesome wrestler. He's a big really dude, but he'll fly through the ropes. He does stuff that a big guy shouldn't do. He's a little shaped like a baby.
He's kind of got the baby going on.
He's a little baby looking, but he's not like, it's not near as bad as JBL, the biggest baby in the business.
Like a baby who like rubbed super glue on its face and then jumped into a bag of pubes.
Yeah. But I forgot. You forget how good of you forget how good of an in-ring worker he is, and then you see some of the stuff that they're doing, and they let him do like. He's got, I mean, the big baby's got the best clothes arm. You know the best clothes hanger in the business. I mean, with the fucking clothesline. JBL does.
Clothesline from Hell.
Yeah, Clothesline from Hell is probably one of the best clotheslines. But Harper or Brody Lee he's got a really good one too.
Yeah.
Every time he does
worst clothesline. I watched this yesterday. Fucking Ultimate Warrior. I watched Warrior versus Triple H at WrestleMania.
Oh God.
Oh man, what a fucking dog turd.
Oh no.
It's a good thing it was only 5 minutes long, man. Fuck.
God, that's so bad. So anyway,
Aubrey Edwards. Aubrey Edwards.
Yep.
The referee for AEW.
Yeah,
I'm in love with her.
What's she been working on? It was in the news. She just told us what she's been working on.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
She kind of let the cat out of the bag, right? This week. Did you not see that? AEW's working on they got a game. They're doing a game.
Really?
Like a video game. They're doing a video game.
Oh, really?
She kind of let the cat
let it out of the bag.
A little bit. I think she kind of offhandedly, maybe. I don't know. I saw it was just a headline. I didn't read the article.
Okay.
Kind of let it out.
Very
that's
cool.
What she's been working on. That's what she's been helping with. What I'm betting is probably some motion capture for the referee part. They're doing a game. They're gonna do a video game.
Fucking A.
I'll play a fucking video game, dude. I say, you're bringing it back to like WCW status for the product. Bring it back to WCW versus NWO status for the controls. Make it to where I can play it. Like those new games.
Just pick it up and play it.
Those new games are too fucking hard. Like.
Yeah.
Nobody likes playing those raw games anymore, like the 2K games, because they're fucking hard.
Yeah,
I can't reverse every goddamn move and remember how to do stuff. I want to hold a button.
You want to spear everybody.
I want to spear on every button. But why not? What happened? Why do we live in this world where they just can't make a game just fucking playable? Like you just said, I want to be able to pick it up and play it right now.
Yeah. Give it to an 8-year-old or a 35-year-old, and they can be competitive.
Because it doesn't matter on a game like that. It doesn't matter like the technicality of the game. Nobody gives a shit. Just let us play the game.
It just has to work.
They did that with Madden. There was a window there for couple years where Madden was so fucking hard to play. And then on the last couple NFL, like the Madden games, they started letting you choose difficulties that would make it to where it's like, I can just play this at my house. I don't care. I don't need to be playing it on expert level. I just want to play for fun.
Yeah.
Right. So do that with this AEW game. Let us play the game. I don't want to get good at playing AEW or WWE. I just want to play it.
Yeah.
I want to create a character.
Rage quit.
And I want every button to be the spear.
Every one
of them.
I found out that Aubrey is from Seattle, so she's a Northwest girl.
Oh, I like that.
Right on. I like that too. So now I got a little bit of skin on the game. I like
that. How'd you feel with Billy? Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn and MJF was. I'll quote what I wrote. Billy Gunn and MJF was actually really awesome.
I thought so. The thing I saw online gave it a C. I thought it tore down the house. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was so great.
I did too. I thought it was super interesting that Billy came out and he, even though they're the Gun Club and his son's a wrestler and he's using the Gun last name. Interesting that Billy is not allowed to use the name. He's coming out as just Billy. I'm betting that's
Billy.
It's just Billy. I bet that's in the contract, kind of like Cody.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like everyone knows it's
Cody. Yeah.
Cody's got to be Cody. He can't be Cody Rhodes. But they're the Gun Club. They're using the name,
right?
But he can't be Billy Gunn. Very interesting. I thought.
I thought that the brawl at the end of that match was really cool.
Yeah, me too.
It was like the whole fucking roster. It felt so. Billy Gunn versus MJF and the whole brawl at the end felt like a Monday Night Raw in 1998 or 99, where it's just run in after run in, and it's just everything is out of control, and you don't know what's going on. And a lot of classic moves that they did, like the dragging him into the corner and wanging his knee on the ring post. That's some classic stuff that you kind of miss in WWE, that they just let you have it. They're like, here's the 90s, buddy. Have fun with it. I thought it was great. And I'm not even really a fan of MJF, but I think he's great. I think he's great.
I'm not a fan of him either, but it's literally for every reason that it's supposed to be. It's earned real heat. He's a dick. And I love it. Apparently there was some news story he flipped off a kid or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people were like, he's a heel, dude. Like, and he's like, well, don't they go out of kayfabe? And they're like, MJF does not.
No.
MJ,
he doesn't want to ruin the business.
I follow him on social media, and he does some hilarious shit. He does this thing where he'll go, like, people will compliment him on like Twitter and be like, he's a great heel. And he does a thing where he like alternates caps and be like, MJF's a great heel. And he'd be like, shut up, loser. I'm the best at everything. And if you don't know it by now, and it's just like, fuck man, that's so good.
I know, right?
Even on his social media, he's a monster. Love it.
Who would win, Dusty or Jungle Boy? He's actually bigger than me.
He is bigger.
That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
If it was me versus Marco Stunt, I'd probably whoop.
I think Dusty would have a squash match with Marco Stunt.
Yeah, I would bust him apart.
Here's the thing now, Dusty. You're still in pretty good shape, and if you just did some training, I think you need to go to wrestling school. I think you need to go to wrestling school and go join up, man. You're not hurt. You don't have any
I'm not hurt.
Right. I mean, at this point, isn't AEW showing that if you have the charisma and you could do the moves already. You just need to go. You need to go get and some. You just go do it. Go
knock off the ring rust.
Knock off that ring rust. Knock off that ring rust and send it, dude. Let's make a fucking 1990s style video and send it to Cody Rhodes. Seriously. Let's make like a 19, like you're not even looking at the right camera and be like, and that's why I'm calling out, and we'll make it bad, like on purpose, like you'll be like, and that's why I'm calling out you, Dusty Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes. I'm calling out you for the TNT championship. Like you go flat championship. And you get like kind of winded even. And be like, that's why I'm calling out. That's why I'm calling. And you wear your moon boots. Be like, I'm the pride.
Yeah, the moon boots is a part of it.
Like, I'm the one pride. Testicle hanging out.
And
just
then,
one. Like,
and then hang some brain.
Hanging brain.
Hanging some brain.
That's the name of your finish move. That's the name of your finish move. Hanging brain.
Let's bring it back.
Going to be the name of this episode.
I did like the Cody event. I did like that he's still defending it every week. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was amazing, but I liked it. Young Bucks, I don't care. I didn't
give a shit either.
Yeah.
I didn't care. But I did write this down. Quote, simple answer. You got a fat head, Marvez. Chris Jericho.
I like that.
And then Britt Baker. This is my last thing.
Okay.
Talking to Tony Schiavone. You're in a lot of shit. We're in a friendship timeout, Tony.
I like that. Yeah,
I thought that was
good.
great.
And then also I loved the I love that Best Friends went out on top over the Les Sex Gods. Even though I really like Les Sex Gods, I was so glad that Best Friends won. Keep that going. Keep that going for a little bit. I'm not sold on Sammy Guevara, man. I'm not there. I'm having a hard time getting there.
He looks like
I think he'll be really good one day, but I can't. I think he's a good wrestler. I just can't.
He might need. You think he needs to go to the dentist? Maybe that's the problem. Like it's just that grill he's got.
He's got to stop. He's got to stop sticking out that fucking tongue for one thing.
Yeah.
I hate it. He's like Miley Cyrus, man. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It's not funny. It's not cute.
He looks like the Mexican Steve-O, doesn't he?
He does. And the haircut's stupid. I hate the haircut. Not into it. All right. Okay, so that's all of those. That's all those for the week. I'll go ahead and give you can I do my wrestler?
Yes.
Okay. So my wrestler for Wrestler I, actually one of you guys did guess this already. It's not Insane Clown Posse. I decided to go with Mike Rotunda. Erwin R. Shyster, IRS. So for the longest time, I didn't know Mike Rotunda did anything other than be IRS because that's what I grew up with watching wrestling, and that was during the cartoon time period where a tax guy could be a wrestler and a garbage. They all had jobs, you know.
And he was like tag teamed with the $1 Million Man.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase.
What were they called? It was like
hold on, I have it pulled up here.
Cash.
I don't know. It was a
clever name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell that was a good idea.
So here's the reason why I picked him though. First off, there's not a ton of eyes. Secondly, he's left a lasting legacy in more than one way. So, First off, Mike Rotunda he's a phenomenal wrestler, and when he wrestled just as Rotunda, like Mike Rotunda, he was great. He's a journeyman. I mean, that's the easiest way to say. He played an awesome heel as IRS. He's one of the job ones that I felt like it was okay. Like we tease the trash man, you know, we tease the dentist, we tease all that crap, you know, just being bad. But I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever tease IRS for being a bad gimmick. He was fun. He's great on the mic. He looked good. I actually loved his outfit. I believe I've always said that I think he wore the Right to Censor outfit before Right to Censor made it cool. But he kind of rocked that outfit, right? He wore a suit and tie and he wrestled that sucker. But here's where he also left his other legacies. I mean, he'll always be remembered. People know who he is. Here's the other legacy, though, man. His kids.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt's his son.
Wyndham
Bo Dallas.
Rotunda. Bo Dallas is really small, though.
He is, and when Bo Dallas was the NXT champion, though, during that run before he joined the main roster, and it was terrible. He was great in NXT. He was really good. His rivalry with
Believe.
Yeah, his rivalry, his feud with Biggie Langston in NXT was really good. It was excellent. When he went to the main roster, they totally ruined him. I think he's still on the roster. Bo Dallas is. I think.
Oh, is he?
I believe so. I think there was a time in NXT, it might have even been developmental, even like OVW, where him and his brother were a tag team. Him and Bray Wyatt were a tag team. And
nice.
That would be so cool.
I would like to see them find a way to work Bo Dallas into the Bray Wyatt storyline somehow and team them together. I think that I think that with what Bo Dallas did with the Bo Leave stuff and how cheesy he is, you could fit him into that Firefly Funhouse gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow. And I think he would be really good. Here's a couple ways they got to fix him, though, for fucking sure. He can't shower. There's a difference between dumping a bottle of water in your hair before you go out in the match, and I swear to God that guy would stand under a fucking shower before he'd come out to the match. And it was so noticeable because I would always see on websites, people would make notice of it. Like, not only is his hair wet, but his shirt would be like soaked, like he's in a wet t-shirt. Like, did you stand in the shower?
In a kiddie pool before he came out?
Glistening.
Just terrible. But I think that's why I really like Mike Rotunda, though. Is like, I grew up watching him, grew up with IRS, but I think his sons are definitely the future. I think even Bo Dallas, there's room for him there. I'd love to see him with Bray, but that's why I chose him. I think Mike Rotunda is one of those ones that if Bo Dallas would have came a little sooner, maybe he could have been in Legacy with DiBiase and Cody and Randy. That would have been cool. I even could have seen him do like the Young Heart, joining the Young Heart Foundation had he been in there sooner. You know, be like the new Anvil. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I think Mike Rotunda is good. I mean, as far as his career goes, he's kind of like you know, he had the Florida. He won a couple titles here and there, never anything huge though. He's kind of like Jake the Snake. Yeah. He never really won a ton of big titles.
Or Mr. Perfect.
Or Mr. Perfect.
Those guys that were just great, and because of the way things were with Hogan constantly needing to have the title or be in the running for the title, there just weren't a lot of spots for people to move into. And you had guys like Macho Man, and spectacles like Ultimate Warrior, like
Money Inc.
Money
Inc. was his tag team with Ted DiBiase, which I loved. The other thing too, I think about the closest he ever got, he did get the tag team championship a couple times. He was great with the $1 Million Corporation when they all got together. You throw Bam Bam Bigelow in there. Mm-hmm. His biggest success, though, really in WWE was actually he almost won King of the Ring.
Really?
He did. He got to the finals with Bret Hart. But he beat to get to there though. He beat was it the Berserker, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jerry Sags. That's a name I haven't seen in forever.
Right.
And then he also had a pretty good feud with Big Boss Man too, which was good.
Yeah. Because we know Boss Man had some bad later feuds. Boss Man had some of the worst.
He did.
I suppose we'll save that for when we take best feuds and worst feuds.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be next week. That's a good.
He did challenge. He's fought for a few titles. He's challenged Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship.
Did he never win it?
He won. He won the Intercontinental Champion. That was that, but Shawn Michaels interrupted it though. Interfered to get him to win the match. Yeah, I mean he's had it. I definitely he didn't have a great WCW career. It could have been a lot better, I think, but it was still.
Most people didn't have a good WCW career.
I know there were a scant few.
Yeah. All right, so that was my wrestler. I went with Erwin R. Shyster, Mike Rotunda.
That was a great choice. That was a great choice.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And also, I love his kids. I love Bray Wyatt. I like Bray Wyatt before the Fiend stuff. So
believe it or not, I did not know that both of those guys were his kids. And now that I know that, I can tell.
Which one didn't you know was his kid? Did you know either of them?
Neither. I didn't even know they were brothers.
What's funny is now go look at their faces.
I was just thinking about it in my head. I'm like, holy shit! Like while you were saying that,
when I first learned that Bray Wyatt was his son, the first thing I did is I went and looked up a picture of his face. I'm like, I have to see it, and just seeing it, I was like, oh yeah, that's Mike's son. Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's
yeah, it's wild.
And then when you see him and then when you see Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt together, they have pictures together. Like I follow Bray Wyatt's Instagram, and because he just had a kid, they just had another child. Him and that little JoJo she was on like Total Divas season 1.
Wasn't
Total
he dating
Divas.
another chick and then cheated on her with this other broad?
So. Yeah,
He's kind of a.
He did a wrestler thing. All right.
A hom rocker.
Yeah.
Push
Okay.
that pipe around.
So.
Moving some furniture.
Feuds. This isn't, and this could be. I would say if the match ends up being, or maybe one of their matches or a couple of their matches ends up being a turd, I think that's still okay. We're just talking about feuds. We've talked about best matches, and sometimes the feud is what leads into a really good match. And sometimes a really good feud can end in laying an egg. But This is the feud itself. So I would say you could go with the chemistry between the two wrestlers. I would say I would throw in like video packages, the vignettes, like any of that stuff that really help drive a storyline. So there's a few things I would throw in there. This is just for our listeners. I don't want to go first though. Which one of you guys want to go first?
Go ahead, Dusty.
I'll do it. So this was really, really, really hard for me.
Oh, by the way, this could be career feud too. Like, I mean, over the course of 10, 20, 30 years.
Sure. Yeah. And yeah. So I've got 6 honorable mentions, and I'm not going to say them unless you guys bring them up. But I've got 6 that I didn't put in this list.
Is that just to not take our thunder, just in case?
Yeah, just to not take your thunder.
You're a lovely man. That's very nice of you to do that.
But I have 6 of them that I'm like, oh, those were really good too. So this is really, really hard for me. But I think that if I was gonna base it on every factor, these are my top 5, and I'll start with number 5. I think Undertaker versus Mankind, their relationship, I think is one of the most gripping feuds that has ever been done, especially with all of the gimmicky matches they did together, like the casket match and the steel cages and the Hells in a Cell and all that crazy shit.
Also throwing in that Paul Bearer left The Undertaker to go be Mankind's handler.
Yeah. So and so you got to watch, and by proxy, so now you're watching Kane wrestle Mankind, and then all of a sudden you get Mankind and The Rock versus Kane and The Undertaker. Like, I mean, it's just everything is good about that feud. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle on SmackDown back in the day. I don't know if you remember that, but
that's a really good choice.
It was when Kurt was the undisputed champion.
That's a really good choice.
Yeah, and it ended at WrestleMania when he pulled his boot off from the ankle lock and cheated to win.
He cheated to win that match. God damn it! That was wild. God, that's a really good choice.
Yeah, and they'd been fighting each other, for a long time. It had been a long build. Like when they were fighting over the Euro title and the IC title, like it's just that to me is one of the best that there is. Number 3 is Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat.
Good one.
I say this one because not only did they have one of my favorite matches of all time, but if you watched any other match that they have done together, which I think they worked. I read the book, but I want to say they toured the country together for years. Like they wrestled the same matches, over and over again, all over the country. So by the time it got to the late 80s and they were doing like big time television stuff, I mean, they were polished, man. That show was that show was figured out. So
well, and the way both of them worked, it was they didn't plan matches out. They both just kind of did it by feel. And so I imagine doing that for 10 years before they ever made big TV. I mean, once they were on there, they popped.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like music. It's like dancing. It's something else. So that's my number 3. Number 2 is it's cool that we watch this because I've been watching a lot of 90s wrestling. I've been watching every time Bret Hart won a championship, and I started with his United States Championship win in 2008, his last title win, and I went all the way back to his first in WWF, and I got to watch all through the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin by proxy of it. And the Bret Hart Stone Cold is obsessed with Bret Hart. Like, he just wants to just wipe the floor with him for whatever reason, and it's like you were saying earlier, Derek, that whole idea of show not tell, or show not tell. Like, they didn't really explain why Stone Cold Steve Austin wanted to cut Bret Hart's head off. It just was going on.
It was just the thing that was happening then.
So is the rivalry Bret and Stone Cold?
Yeah, Bret and Stone Cold.
Okay.
What did I say?
No. I was just because there's I'm just sorry. There's just so many storylines that went into this time period. Kind of just fuck with each other. So I was just making sure that specific one is the one you're talking about because I have something that plays on this. That's why I was like,
oh really? Yeah.
It's a really good rivalry. Fuck, that's really good. Yeah.
So I was just watching. I was just saying what I was watching was all the Bret Hart title wins, and by doing that, I got to watch Stone Cold and So that's my number 2 and number 1. This should be on everyone's list. I figured since he's my favorite wrestler, I'll put it down. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It doesn't get any better than that. When it's an out of kayfabe relationship, then they hate each other. Like, it doesn't get any better.
I think if Shawn had been the more respectful version of himself back then, their feud would not have been what it was.
No, it would have been garbage. Yeah. That was the chemistry, and I think
that sometimes they really disliked each other. I won't say hate because neither one of them are really haters, but
sure,
they really disliked each other.
Some vitriol for sure.
Yeah.
So but that one was a given. So
okay,
I probably should have left it off and just put that one as an honorable mention and put something else in there.
No, I think it's fair. It should be your number 1. It's your number 1 favorite one. So I'm going to preface this by telling you guys that my honorable mention is also a tie for my number 1 because it was really hard to kind of sift through all of this madness. This is an Attitude Era rivalry. So my honorable mention is also my tie for my number 1, so I'm not going to give you it yet. My number 5 though is Triple H and The Rock.
So that was on mine.
So I saw
some not too long ago.
And I'm going with full career. I'm going with Triple H against The Rock when it was DX and Nation of Domination. I'm going Triple H versus The Rock when it was the Blue Blood Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Rocky Maivia. I'm going Triple H versus The Rock when it was when The Rock was a people's champion and Triple H was a heel. Like, just the whole rivalry is so good. I just got goosebumps even thinking about it. It was so good. Triple H is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and so is The Rock. And I fucking love everything they ever did. And I'm just, goosebumps again. Just thinking about some of those video packages and stuff. They were so good.
Well, and little things that you see if you look back at some of those matches. Like there was one where The Rock was the guest enforcer. It was when he's wearing that black turtleneck and everything. And Triple H hits the pedigree, and The Rock sells it as somebody else in the ring. Like there's little things that you forget because because of how swept up you were back then, like The Rock was so good on so many different levels.
Yeah.
And, you know, he hits the pedigree and he's like, and then he's like, and then it, you know, he keeps congratulating Triple H on it. It's so funny. The way they played off each other was great.
Yeah, God, I loved the rivalry. They had such good chemistry too. I also think they actually really genuinely like each other. I think that's the part that's kind of funny. Is I think Triple H and The Rock actually like each other.
Oh yeah.
Which is really interesting though, because a lot of those rivalries are I think they really were rivals because they're your two career guys trying to build your career. But I think they genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know
remember when
what's
Triple
weird,
H was
though?
on? Remember when Triple H was on? The Rock hosted SNL, and the Triple H made his guest appearance and stuff. And what were you gonna say, Chris?
Back then, it seemed like the show was dense enough that they could do that, and they've got plenty of people now who, you know, should be vying for a position against each other and constantly trying to outdo each other, and still able to be friends backstage. I think they can. I don't think it should be as rare as it seems to be, but you know, every show had like 8 or 9 moments in it, whereas now like you got that one good match from Backlash, or you got that one moment from Raw this week, and it's like it shouldn't be that way anymore.
Right.
I forgot to mention, while not mentioning my one honorable mention, I had a couple other ones. So I gave my 5. I do want to give a shout out though to Triple H and Jericho.
Oh yeah, that's on mine too. The video packages.
Yeah, the video packages, and I love the whole Undisputed Era, and then I also love how it flipped back and forth. You know, I loved it when Jericho didn't like Stephanie, would come out and give every single insult he could to her, and he was
bottom
hilarious.
feeding trash bag hoe.
Yeah. The other one is a new. The other one is semi new. It's in the It's after 2015-ish, but Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in NXT when Sami Zayn won the NXT Championship, and then Owens just throws him down. It's so ugly, and they had a really good rivalry. It was fun, but it's an honorable mention because when they both went to the main roster, it ended up not being great. I actually like them better when they're a bad guy team together. They're a lot more fun. So anyway, number 4, Owen Hart and Bret Hart.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Great. Greatest cage match of all time.
God damn.
Things worked out a little bit differently, I think.
And
we'd be talking more about Owen than Bret.
One of the best endings to a WrestleMania match ever as well.
Yeah.
Like one of the best WrestleMania matches you could ever ask for.
And I think, Chris, I think you're right. If things would have went differently, I think we would have way different conversations about Owen. I think he would have ended up having a way bigger career than Bret ever did. Because Owen is, in my opinion, he's the far better wrestler. He was amazing. And
more natural talent, I think.
Just so good. And I love the flyer stuff he could do. He still did all the ground stuff, all the groundwork, but then he went on to that turnbuckle more, did bigger moonsaults, just good stuff. I love Owen Hart. R.I.P. I love that rivalry though. And you'll notice in mine a lot of it's the story, and they just told a really good story. Just the whole story was so good. When Owen Hart is talking after their match, after they lost the tag team match, and he's just how selfish Bret Hart is, and he's just going off. I'm like, God, that's so good.
He always would like spit a little bit.
He would,
and
he'd let his voice crack. He'd let his voice crack like he's the little brother. He's like, he's selfish. He's like, fuck, that's so good. Because I swear to God, he did it on purpose. Number 3, terrible match, but the breaking up of the Mega Powers, Hulk and Savage.
Yeah, sure. It's a shame every time somebody like Savage had to work with somebody like Hogan.
I know, but boy, that lead up. I mean, it's just the matches were wet farts, but the leading up to that, the whole year I mean, it was a whole year of the breaking up of the Mega Powers.
Yeah.
And it was just good storytelling. Well done. Number 2 is Sean and Brett. Obviously, got to go with it.
Yeah.
You have to have it.
Yeah.
For every reason you said, I don't have to cover it. Thank you. Number 1.
Yeah.
This is my number 1. That is it's tied with an honorable mention because it was so much to sift. But it was Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon.
Oh yeah.
Slash Stone Cold and The Rock.
Yeah.
Because
the corporation.
It was Stone Cold. Stone Cold against McMahon was a big piece of it. I mean, it was a great rivalry, a great feud, but also you got the best Stone Cold and The Rock feud out of that because that was when he was the corporate champ and a douche.
It was just before it slipped into that corporate ministry shit.
Yeah.
And it got real weird.
I mean, before
Taker
that,
took it over. Yeah.
It's right before then, man. That was my favorite feud. And I wanted to throw The Rock and Stone Cold on here, and it was just like, man, but I love The Rock and I feel like these two go so much together. So you could say they're tied for my number 1, but one of them's an honorable mention, and one of them's number 1. They just happen to be tied for number 1.
Nice.
That's it. Chris.
All right.
Cool.
I'll go over the ones that we've already mentioned first. Stone Cold and The Rock. They, I mean, whether it's for the IC belt or going for the big strap, it was always, always, always so good. Strangely enough, Stone Cold is one of the ones that has made my list twice, and he is in a match with someone else who made it twice. So there's a lot of doubles on here, but
that's good. I like that though.
Leading into the other one, Brett and Stone
consistent.
Cold.
Oh, Brett and Stone Cold.
Brett and Stone Cold. Yeah.
Just nonsensically good, and that one match is, top 5 of all time.
And we know what one match you're talking about. It's probably the most famous.
I mean, what a story! I mean, we saw 2 as a double turn,
and it's maybe one of the few times it's ever been properly executed too.
Yep.
And it felt so natural. I totally suspended my disbelief at that point.
I feel like if you were going to show wrestling to somebody who didn't know what it was, that would be the match you would show them.
Oh,
even if it wasn't your favorite, that would be the first one you'd show somebody.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
And you would make you would get a convert immediately.
I could
good.
That image of Stone Cold screaming in pain with the blood dripping down his face. It's ingrained.
Boring.
It's ingrained in my head though. I mean, that was a moment where I was just like every other Mark, where I was like, Stone Cold's my favorite wrestler now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was like, I like this guy.
You'd get kicked out of school. You'd get kicked out of school for wearing that shirt with his bloody face on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kids got kicked out of school for that shit.
They did.
No?
Yeah, that's a good.
Great
pick. That's a great pick.
That one leads into Brett and Sean. I think we've said everything that needs to be said about that. What a great rivalry that was.
Jeez.
And
there's some crossover between.
Yeah.
There's some crossover between HBK and Brett and Triple H and The Rock because they're the two the 4 dudes and the only 4 dudes who have ever been able to do an Iron Man match for 60 minutes
and have it be entertaining.
Yeah, and there's a lot of and kind of like my McMahon and my Rock and my Stone Cold. That's it's a lot to sift out there.
Yeah,
really. Great pick.
And then since Sean was in there, Triple H versus HBK after the comeback. The way they went back and forth, and they finally ended up having that crazy no disqualification match. I mean, you talk about Stone Cold and HBK and Ric Flair are the best bleeders ever.
Yeah.
Just they work it well. They take the color. And I was kind of surprised that nobody went outside WWE this time. My number 1 is DDP versus the entire NWO.
Yeah.
I
thought about that one.
With the way that went, it was just he seemed like he was so alone. Sting had gone over to the Wolfpack. and it was just DDP.
Yeah.
Because I think Goldberg was out with an injury or something, and he ended up coming back and trying to rekindle the streak, but no one cared.
It wasn't as good, yeah.
But that time when he was the only good guy on Monday night, I mean, they squabbled amongst each others. He was so good. And I think he was one of those dudes who'd been around the business long enough, and he could put on a decent match. He was one of those transitional guys while they build some storylines and whatnot. It's too bad that didn't come to fruition, though.
Yeah.
Their whole jam got shut down.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's a great feud, and I could throw in some WCW ones as just great honorable mentions, though. I mean, Jericho and Dean Malenko were excellent. Yep. I mean, there's a lot of great. I think part of the reason why I went all WWE is because I always felt the Attitude Era just told the better stories for those feuds.
Yeah.
I mean, WCW got so bogged down by the NWO stuff to where it just wasn't even fun after a while. Like, it was just, and it wasn't, if you actually think about it, it's not like the NWO storyline was like diamonds for a few years and then turned bad. It actually it's pretty fast. NWO was a good storyline for the first couple months and then started getting really messy and crappy.
But they got too many people. Like once you're bringing out a new member every week, you've gone to the well too many times and there's no water left. You just
Yeah.
You only missed 2.
Okay, what were other honorable mentions we did not throw in there?
John Cena and Randy Orton.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talk about video packages.
Yeah.
That shit. Yeah. And then Triple H and Mankind / Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
They had some good runs. I also thought about throwing in The Rock and Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good one too, man.
Yeah, because I liked.
Yeah. It has a happy ending.
It does. I mean, it does, because you got the Rock and Sock. You got the Rock and Sock connection out of it after a while, and that was great. But actually, you could work Mankind into a lot of those rivalries, I think.
Yeah, he had a great one with Stone Cold, and most of these guys also had runs with The Undertaker. HBK and The Undertaker had some of the best matches that WrestleMania had ever seen. Yeah. And who else?
Well, I also thought about throwing in The Undertaker and Stone Cold. I wasn't huge on the corporate ministry part of that, but I liked Stone Cold and The Undertaker for that rivalry during that time period.
And
Can you imagine them trying to do a crucifixion angle today?
Oh, yeah, because he's rescuing the boss's teenage daughter from. I mean,
and actually, let me
being sacrificed.
Let me rephrase that. I liked the ministry. I just didn't like the corporate ministry.
Right.
Once they revealed Vince McMahon to be the higher power, it was gone.
Yeah.
Really?
Have you ever thought about just who that could have been that would have been cooler? Like, I've given some thought to that. If I would have booked it, like who the higher power would have actually been. Because there was just a lot of stuff about the Vince stuff that I didn't like. Like, so he abducted his own daughter. Like, that's weird. Like, I don't like that.
If they did it in WCW, it'd be the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Yeah, baby, I'm the higher power, baby. We're coming in, taking all the titles, baby.
Coming in.
Woo!
I love it. I do like that. I mean, he has the megaphone
yelling at the Undertaker while he's walking slowly down the aisle.
I've thought about like stuff they could have done that could have been better. I mean, it could have been interesting to have this, have somebody as a higher power. I even thought of something. Thinking about it right now, I don't think it would work. But I think when I was younger, I'm like, how cool would it have been if the person would have been Stephanie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Were she way better?
Were she?
So
if you look at that storyline, so now she's actually faked her abduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And that's pretty good.
And
that would have been.
And she's always been a good heel, right?
Yeah, she's a good heel. Yeah.
She could have played like that young super genius
Yeah.
and just for years outsmart Vince and steal the company from him, and then we could just have Vince backstage, but that didn't work out.
Another one I thought about throwing in there would have been Shane McMahon, if he would have been the higher power. Shane McMahon, he orchestrated the abduction of his little sister. He wants to take up this company from his dad, and like I thought, like, okay, like that could have been cool, like Shane McMahon. Like
it was probably a little too early in women's oppression to let Stephanie do that angle, but that would have been a great one, because then she could have come up without even Triple H.
Yeah,
not looking like, oh, he's the smart one and I'm just his wife. Like they could have run with that, and it would have been awesome. Would have been even better than Shane, but Shane would have been great too.
Yeah. And then
maybe Doink the Clown.
And then my final choice would have had to change the whole course of history, and there's no way it could have worked ever. But it would have been really cool for Jake the Snake Roberts to have been clean during that time, to bring him back as this soft-spoken, terrifying higher power.
Yeah, somehow gain control of the Undertaker.
It was
Snake God.
It was me, Austin.
His little
Janky King.
It was me,
Arsenio Hall.
It was me all along. And then have him start doing, and it was me all along. Then have him start doing that, and then have him start doing some like stuff from like the Bible and the weird stuff that he was doing towards the end of his career. Like,
that
when
he started having to wear shirts to the ring.
That would have been fucking terrifying, though. Like
fucking snakes and shit, dude. Fuck yeah, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool. And then he wouldn't have had to necessarily have a wrestling role. He could have just been what he's doing well at right now, which is just being a mouthpiece.
Oh, I love him. This is being a mouthpiece. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Good stuff. No, I think this is a great list. Boy, that means next week we get to do the worst feuds. And
this is the worst I don't think will be difficult.
While the worst belts would have been tough to do a whole show about, I think the worst feuds will be very fun, and I think we'll have lots of honorable mentions, because there's been a lot of real bad feuds that have lasted way too long. And I cannot wait. When we were talking about doing feuds today, I was like, man, I cannot wait to do the worst feuds. Like, I cannot wait for this.
There's some bad shit out there.
I'm wondering how many. And by the way, I might have a couple for the modern era of new feuds that were too long that I didn't like. As much as
Nia Jax and anyone.
Yeah, we can romanticize the Attitude Era for all you want. But there's some bad shit that came out of the Attitude Era too. A lot of bad feuds came out of that I cannot wait to talk about. Some of those feuds from the Attitude Era were fucking trash.
Bad.
And it's not something. Some of them aren't even ones that I look back at as a kid, or as a kid was like, oh, I like this. As a kid, I was like, this isn't good.
This is not good. Ew.
I don't want to watch this. Cool. This is the time where we take a break.
Janky Kang made a point earlier that we forgot to address. Paul Heyman got.
That's true. Yeah,
we can no longer.
He's no longer the creative piece for Raw. Looks like Bruce Pritchard's taking that over.
Yep.
Which Bruce Pritchard's, it'll be in fine hands. It's a shame because I think Paul Heyman's good at storytelling, and I think it's too bad. I think Raw was watchable. I mean, it's not amazing by any means, but also a lot of that has to do with like COVID-19 though too. A lot of that has to do with the fact that nothing's really watchable right now.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah. I mean, you don't watch SmackDown, so I mean, the proof is in the pudding when it comes to Raw. I mean, you'll gladly watch AEW and you'll watch Raw, but you won't watch SmackDown. So it had to have been something, and it's probably more than likely Paul Heyman. Dangerously.
I haven't watched SmackDown in quite some time. I watched that match on Friday. Oh, this is a good one. Roddy Piper and Hogan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Fucking Buff Bagwell.
This could be some take, a hot take maybe, but Goldust and Razor Ramon was actually a really great rivalry. That was a great feud. Because that was who Goldust first had his feud with when he first became Goldust, right? Like he did the very androgynous, very androgynous, weird, the wig. So that was kind of an interesting. Man, the guy might have been a little bit ahead of his time, actually, as far as that gimmick goes.
Yeah.
I like that. I maybe it could be. I guess you could consider it as being maybe a little tone deaf now, but also I do love the idea of somebody playing against somebody's homophobia. And actually, if you ever watched interviews with Dustin Rhodes, he's not a homophobe by any stretch of the imagination. He's very comfortable with himself, so that was a storyline that he didn't mind doing because he.
Right.
I think one of the things I watched him is he got a laugh over the people who were really upset or uncomfortable with the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah.
So I almost think that some of the stuff he was doing was very satirical for the time. He might have been very much ahead of his time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For teasing, he's the son of a fucking legend, and he's supposed to be this androgynous, bound and gag me. Homosexual, I guess, except for he's kind of transgender too at the time. Like it was it was meant to push buttons, but
he's Goldust.
And I don't know that I ever, I think if I went and watched it now, I still don't know that it would be something that is, I don't know if it's that offensive really even. I think it's kind of of a trailblazer thing to me.
Yeah.
Like
that's how I feel about it.
I mean, but Dusty, you and I, we hang out. We hang out with Hogan's people and stuff. And I mean, one of the things we've joked around about the past is, for those of you who are not from the area, a lot of straight right-wing assholes from the area don't like Hogan's because they're like, isn't that the gay bar? You don't hear that very much anymore, honestly.
Not really, not so much.
People have really changed their minds on it's a restaurant. It's a restaurant and a great bar, and it's owned by great people, and it's just fine. People go there. It's a good time. But I mean, back between 2000, I'll say between like the 1990s and like 2008. If you said you went to Hogan's, you had people who were like, "Isn't that the gay bar?" And I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, "Yeah, it's the gay bar. You probably shouldn't go there." And I would always say that because I'm like, because I don't want these assholes to go to the bar. If you don't know what it is, I don't want you to go and then fucking ruin it for everybody, including those of us who are, allies or just like a good place to hang out, right? So I don't know. I guess my point is that I don't think he was doing it in an offensive way ever. Goldust was.
Right.
I think he was pushing buttons. But also, I think there was some satire involved.
So, is your question like, what would the Hogan's crowd feel about Goldust today?
Today, watching some of that old footage.
Yeah,
I don't know how they feel. It's a good
question. They should expose themselves to it and get back to us. That's their homework.
You know what
triggers? I feel like they're a thin-skinned bunch, and they won't look at it the way you did.
Maybe a little. You're probably right.
You might be right. You might be right.
Also, as somebody who also know Hogan's people, they'll probably look at it and go, "Wrestling's stupid."
Yeah. They'll call us bad words.
Yeah, they will. Also, Jakey King, this is also a good point. It's a knock on Hollywood too, which is also true. That is also very true.
Yeah.
Is also very true. Yeah, it is.
I think right now, looking at Dustin's career now from him in AEW, I think that he will end up being one of the greatest of all time.
I think so too.
On people's lists, he'll be able to transcend that gimmick, and people will really know, kind of like an Eddie Guerrero, where they didn't really know what they had, and they'll look back fondly on it.
I also think that we'll end the show here, but I also think that gimmick when it was given to Goldust, I believe it was a dig. I think they were trying to bury him, and Dustin Runnels,
because his dad was Dusty,
right? Yeah. And I believe Dustin went with it and fucking made it a thing that should have never ever been, and made it cool. And then by coming back in like 2015 or whatever, 2012 or whatever the fuck year that was, it was like 2014, 15. When he looked even better, when he was thin. Yeah. He was thin, and he was doing the fucking gold and black Darth Maul makeup, and then to find out, because I watched it behind the scenes, to find out that for years they hadn't even been doing the makeup on him anymore. The WWE people hadn't been doing the makeup on him anymore for years. He does it himself.
He does it himself.
He stands in the fucking mirror and does all that intricate, all that shit, the flames and all the stuff that was on his face. He was doing that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's why he wore that full bodysuit, so he didn't have to paint any more than he really had to.
But fucking nuts, man. Painting on his hair. Like he's oh man. Fuck.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best.
God damn it. And he still looks great. He's old man. He still looks great in AEW. He's slowed down a bit.
He's flipping and a flopping and a dipping and a dopping all over the ring there.
He is. Love it. All right. Let me choose a song to close us out here. This is a great time. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.
Thanks, Janky Kang, for joining us this evening.
He's fantastic. All right, here we go.
Yeah, he's great.
Nice.
All right, everybody. This is the original one.
Yeah.
This is when this is his debut one.
WCW or?
WWE.
WWE, oh. I did not know that.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
The countdown ended and this started in.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. Every single week we had a lot of fun. By the way, special shout out to our friends at the Wooden Nickel here in Lewiston, Idaho. It's actually the official, unofficial bar of Sports Program, but because I'm on Sports Program, that's also means it's the official, unofficial bar of the show as well. Make sure you look for us. Boy, we're on just about everything you could be. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch TV. We're on 3 different pages on Facebook. Boy, if you can't find us, you're just not even trying. Thanks for my co-hosts here, Chris and Dusty, at Derek on TSPN, at Huds Magruder, at DustyCats88. Make sure you go look up also our friend Janky Kang. He's a great guy. Drew. Next week we will have a guest on the show. I think Randy
could be Jesse Knight or Randy Isbell.
I think we're gonna go with Jesse on this one because he responded first.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
Slid in there.
And we like them all the same, so if it's order of. Also, I think Jesse's been on. He's the last time we've had. So he was the last. We've had other people since Jesse, so I think Jesse's next. I think.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
All right. Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and after I think next week. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the worst feuds ever. All right, have a good night, everybody, and go Warriors. Big sweaty man.